our TEACS checkup data as a 7th grade ELAR team. What we did was we started with our old information because we were looking at our growth from our 3 weeks exam up until now using our TEACS resource information. So I had the same slide from the last time, and noticing the two lowest TEACS, we had 7-point figure 19D and 7.4S, they were both around that 55%. I also highlighted the different demographic populations just to draw attention to our special pops, Black, African American, Hispanic, LEP, and our SPED students. These were the TEACS that we pulled, the ones I just mentioned, 7.4 and figure 19D, what the students would be able to do, and we're understanding, making inferences, and drawing conclusions about the structure and elements of poetry, using text evidence, as well as figure 19D, making inferences about the text, using text evidence to support the understanding. I have the beginning percentages there, 55% and 56% respectively. The interesting thing about the assessment is our questions are dually coded. So even though I'm presenting information separately, when they're tested together in one question. You have to be able to go to that deeper level with the structure and elements of poetry. The reteaching ideas off to the side, the small group stations, inferencing, this is what we said we were going to do after the 3 weeks assessment, and this is what we have implemented in our class since then. This is the overall demographic information from our TEACS checkup data. We're presenting it holistically based on how we transferred the information from GradeCam. With me sharing the classes, everything came together, so we're not going to be able to present our individual teacher data at this time. I boxed in figure 19D and 7.4. Those are the two that we mentioned, and of course they would have the same percentage, around 67%, because they are tested together within one question. I've highlighted the special populations again, Black, African American, Hispanic, LEP, and SPED, but I will allow Ms. James to further present that on the next slide, which is going to give us a glimpse of our growth snapshot.
Okay, so pulling those TEACS 7.4 and 7-point-figure 19D, we have both what they did before and what they did after. So if you look at 7.4 overall, they did have 55, but at our TEACS checkup point, they were at 67%. So we have gains, 11% worth of gains there. Looking at our Black population, they were at 55.82, so approximately 56%. They came all the way to 70%, so we have gains there. Also with our Hispanic population, they're around 57%. We got them all the way to 64%, so I'm patting us on the back. Because like we said last time, poetry and inferencing, guys, that's something that's in every genre that we do, and it's the hardest things for our kids to accomplish. So I was excited this morning, and I'm continuing to be excited. With our LEP population, there was 3% growth there, so we do need to monitor them as a group. But then our SPED, because I have the highest SPED population, I'm jumping for that, because we went from 36% to 53%. So another pat on the back for our team, because we strategized as a whole. We did everything that we do. We do it as a whole, and hitting those stations and spiraling and making sure that we took those questions and hit it that way. Because again, last time one of our biggest things is what we thought our kids did horrible on was looking at the question, just understanding what the question is asking you. So presenting that information to them again obviously worked. So overall, we had a 10% growth as a whole for both TEACS, 50% growth in our Black, 10% in Hispanic, 2% growth in our LEP, and a 20% growth overall in our SPED population. Future plans?
Future plans to reach the 90%. We will continue to analyze data and in our stations continuously spiral in poetry and inferencing activities. Continue collaborating first and third period, and then provide instruction that increases student engagement and small groups with our LEP students.
You want to highlight anything else?
What can I say?
The only thing I wanted to highlight was the continued collaboration and planning and implementation with Ms. Bosch Johnson and Mr. Moody.
And Ms. Johnson.
And Ms. Johnson. They come to us and meet with us when we're doing our planning during first and third, looking at what we have already presented in our lesson plans, translating what needs to be translated, coming into the class, pulling small groups, reading whatever needs to be read to the students, working with the pacing. Sometimes when I start talking, I talk very quickly. And so Ms. Foster Johnson will come in and reiterate what I said, and I'm also learning from her, slow it down, Foster, slow it down. So I'm just highlighting our assistants in our classrooms through our ESL teachers and our SPED teachers as well.
Also, the collaboration that we've been having on our strategies, because a lot of the growth happened because of the graphic organizers that we developed as a team to provide to our students. So getting what we have and making it fit what we need, I feel like has been the biggest help for us moving forward, and embedding those STAR questions into the actual graphic organizer is something that we do as well. So here it is, you're seeing this question over and over again, exactly how it's going to be, exactly how it's going to be asked with the exact same academic vocabulary, and that's helping them because they're like, oh, when I get to the test, I already know what this is asking me. I know what I'm looking for. So just identifying that and making sure our planning is purposeful in everything that we're doing is why we've been able to do well.
And I would also like to, I don't know, just offer my appreciation to my team here. Miss Jefferson has her own set of skills and background that she's bringing to Reed Middle School. A certain thing that she does that I really like, and we all stole as a team, is using the sentence stems and having our kids use that TEAC-specific purposeful STAR language when they're proving their answers. And that reaches our text evidence weakness that we said, having the kids provide text evidence, but it's also just re-embedding that academic vocabulary, pulling that from her and her organization as well. Giving our instructions orally, but also having them in our stations printed out. So that in case they miss something, they can go back and look and say, okay, step number 1, I need to do this. Step number 2, I need to do that. And it also gives the kids more accountability of what's going on in their groups or in their stations. So just kudos to my team. I'm excited.